It says, Assalamu alaikum. Can you donate money toward a non-Muslim funeral? Example, they don't have money to bury him or her, so they take collections. Is it permissible to go to a church for the funeral? As for um, donating money to a non-Muslim funeral, then it all depends. Let's say it's a family member, and they don't have enough money to bury the family member unless you give contributions. Then that's one thing. Okay, the obligation of burying someone that needs to be buried for the purpose of just respect to the body, okay, and also for the purpose of not allowing the people to be harmed by the decaying, putrid corpse, okay. And a person being buried is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He, the Exalted, has told us in the Quran al-Kareem. He says, ثُمَّ أَمَاتَهُ فَأَقْبَرَهُ, that Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, and then He will give death to man, and then He will put him in his qabr, in his grave. So a slave being buried is considered to be a minna. It's a bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He allowed man to be honored and not to lie on the surface of the earth, to be eaten by wild animals, to be ripped apart by winds and rains and his bones decaying. That's a blessing. So therefore, if no one else can take care of him and you have to contribute, then that's what you should do if it's a family member. Let alone the fact that it's a means of da'wah. There's a lot of doubt on that. Look at the Muslims. He's generous. This family member wasn't a Muslim, but he still is handling his responsibilities after death. Okay? This is a means of da'wah, and anyone who's ever been to a funeral, Muslim or non-Muslim, there lies no doubt. It is from the best times to give da'wah. It's from the best times to admonish the people and to remind them and to shake them up and wake them up that this death is real. It's not a joke. You can have your cars and your money and your drugs and your alcohol and your lovely, lavish dunya life, men or women, whatever you're into, but it's going to come a day in which you're going to leave all of it. You can't take money to the grave, as that wise businessman said. He says, we don't hold back money. We spend money because you can't take money to the grave. Okay? So this is a reality. So death is a reminder that should be taken advantage of, and it should be exploited. Okay? So therefore, if you have the ability to teach them and show them what Islam promotes, alhamdulillah, generosity of Islam, so on and so forth. Okay? That's in general. As for donating to every single funeral in which they're going to rely on Allah and His messengers, people that you're not related to, so that's a different issue. Okay? And another piece of advice, if you're going to donate or you're going to take care of the financial responsibilities of a family member, then it should be known that you're going to handle the funeral, inshallah. Okay? It's not going to be no crazy funeral. If I'm paying for it, then we want to have a simple, basic burial. And Allah knows best. It says, is it permissible to go into a church for the funeral? As for going into a church, then the general ruling is that it's not haram to enter a church. Okay? As many of the pious predecessors entered churches, the ma'abid, the places of worship of the Christians, as is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari and others. Okay? And one narration states, I believe of Umar radiallahu anhu, or someone else from the companions, he says, we don't enter your churches illa lima fiha min as-suwar, except because of the different statues that you have in those churches. In other words, if there weren't statues in the churches, he would go in. So the concept of offering salah in a church, okay, if a person had to offer salah in a church, that's an issue of fiqh. Okay? Now the concept of going in the church, sitting in the church, listening to what they say in the church, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the sheer ruling of entering into a church. The sheer ruling. Not participating in shirk and kufr. We're talking about the sheer ruling of just going inside of the church. If you had to pray in the church, or if you had to give dawah in the church. Alright? Khayr, inshallah. As for sitting and listening to someone lie on Allah and His messenger and His messengers, then that's a different story. Clear, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum wa feekum barakallah.